We live in a world we don't appreciate. We live in a world wherein the only green thing we truly care about is money. We live in a world where human life takes priority over every other living organism. A world where we look down upon the things that keep us alive. A world where we see everything as weeds, an object that just takes space. We see everything as weeds, when we, in fact, are the weeds. We are the weeds of the earth.
So what would the earth be like without the presence of us humans? Human activities for the past century have caused large disturbance to our nature. Our presence brought pollution, contamination to many aspects of the ecosystem. The growth of our population also was too great that we consume too much resources for our own interests. So what if we remove the threat of human activities? Our ecosystem would definitely thrive. The space that we have taken up for ourselves will give room for local plants to grow and provide new habitats for animals. No one would drive off both prey and predators, allowing the natural cycle of ecosystem to progress. The global temperature would also decrease since we would no longer contribute to the carbon emission.
The world can go without us, but we can't go on without the world. We depend on Earth. The food we eat and the materials we use, it all came from Earth. Due to rising demand on these resources, humans have started developing genetically modified products. Although having a positive goal, we fail to see the negative effects of these genetically modified organisms. Additionally, due to urbanization and rising population, humans need more space to build their shelters. To build these establishments, humans cut down forests and get rid of plant life. To further discuss the effects of human intervention in plant life, here are 3 examples of plant life affected by human activities.
Case 1. Palay, or rice farming. Rice being the most common staple food for a large part of the world's human population covers a large part of the agricultural production. With agriculture being a key industry in the society, it, however, due to human intervention, brings negative effects to the environment. One negative effect is deforestation. Due to the rising demand of crops, large patches of forested areas are cleared to make way for arable land. The removal of the trees cause major fluctuations in the temperature and the loss of habitat for native animals. Another is the pollution and contamination of water. According to an article, globally, we use about 70% of all available fresh water for agriculture. The contamination occurs when pesticides, fertilizers, and other additives are used on crops. Chemicals that are present in these additives can leave residue on the water supply that eventually can transfer from one water source to another. This impacts a wide range, especially in the aquatic environment.
Second case is that of BT corn. First, what is BT and what does it stand for? BT, or Bacillus thuringiensis, is a bacterium that naturally produces crystal-like proteins or cryoproteins that kill a few selective invading insect species such as larval caterpillars. This bacterium is found in soil microbes throughout the world. Now for BT corn. This is a genetically modified crop that produces insecticidal proteins that naturally occur in BT.
In the BT corn's case, when an insect threatens to bite a corn, the BT weakens its digestive system that will eventually perforate them. Despite the poor insect's fate, benefits of the BT corn cannot be denied. BT corn has reduced the number of sprays to restrain insect pest damage. It has also managed to increase farmers' total corn yields because the control of caterpillar damage has allowed farmers to harvest a greater number of corn ears.
While on the smaller scale, the BT corn has reduced the occurrence of ear molts. BT-protected corns can have lower level of toxins produced by molds since insect damage provide a site for mold infection. Given this, we can stress on the fact that BT corn does more good than it does harm. Or does it? According to an article by Livestrong.com, it is stated that the use of BT corn can cause contamination to other crops, making organic farming much more difficult. There is also potential for the BT toxin to negatively affect aquatic life by contaminating nearby streams, therefore affecting the livelihood of those who utilize the streams.
While the majority of invasive species has come about due to human action, not all detrimental outcomes have come from our own selfish needs. Sometimes it's a result of good intentions, such as the case of the mahogany tree in Bohol. The mahogany tree is a non-endemic tree of the Philippines, which in recent years has flourished in the frequent tourist destination of Bohol. In the 1960s, over 857 hectares of Bilar Bohol was planted with mahogany in hopes of regaining the forests. It's become a scenic tourist hotspot located on a drive to the Chocolate Hills. What the government had in mind was repopulating canopy, stabilizing the watershed of the environment, and benefiting the tourism of the country. However, they didn't have the foresight to find out what effects it would pose to the biodiversity of the native ecosystem. Though these tall and foliage-dense trees are a sight to behold, the shorter native flora of the region are becoming rarer and rarer in a struggle to compete with the abrupt mahogany population. Such is the case of the Dipterocarps, who was logged heavily during the 1980s but has not seen the same replanting efforts as the mahogany tree. While with good intentions, humankind has planted and introduced this scenic tree, and in the process, eradicated millions of years of effort that our native Philippine flora has endured.
What are the possible steps to improvement? Humans have ultimately become invasive to plant species and, altogether, have disrupted the balance of the natural ecosystem. However, this does not have to fester and cause further damage. As human intervention can cause disruption, it should also have the same capacity to reverse the situation entirely. The first step they should have in mind is to recognize the effects that their actions will risk. As with the case of the mahogany, replanting was not entirely of good outcome as it put threat to the flora endemic to the area. Studying the effects brought by introducing new species to an ecosystem lowers the chances of a species diversity imbalance to occur. Related to this is the creation of a protected environment for the existing ecosystem through the development of national parks. These are nature reserves protected by the government that allow the flora native to the Philippines to flourish without the disruption of the invasive flora species and human habitation.
We live in a world we should appreciate. We live in a world wherein the green object we should care about is nature. We live in a world where we should act, for a world such as ours cannot thrive without flora and fauna. It is our duty to protect it. We must abandon our selfish acts and look towards what will become if we do not stop. With our selfish ways, the earth is home to one big green plant, and if that big green plant dies, so do we. We are the weeds of the earth, and as weeds do, we should thrive in the world, grow, and live with the earth, not in it.